Rank 2 S-Class hero and older sister of Blizzard of Hell or Fubuki, we have the Tornado of Terror, also known as Tatsumaki from One Punch Man, and the strongest Esper in Mob Psycho 100, and older brother of Ritsu Kageyama, we have Shigeo Kageyama, also known as Mob, both being creations of the mangaka named One or Tomohiro on June 14th and April 18th of 2012 respectively. 4 years ago, Death Battle dropped a video on this very same topic in which Tatsumaki was the winner. So in this video, I will give my scaling on both characters and will be answering the question of if they were right in the end. All skins and calculations will be provided in the description below via Google Doc like always, so if you want to use them, they're there. Also, if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe with post notifications turned on. That way you never miss an upload from me, as it really does help out the channel. But with that being said, let's get into the video. Before I get into attack potency for these characters, I want to talk about the statement from One himself on this topic. In an interview, One was asked who would win between the likes of Tatsumaki and Mob, in which he states, "Mob against Tatsumaki is usually Tatsumaki, but if you get serious, I'm not sure." With this, we can conclude that any percentage lower than 100% loses to Tatsumaki flat out, and that 100% and likely question mark percent are relative to her, to the point that it's a difficult topic to answer. I also want to point out that this was from One and not Yusuke Murata, the artist for One Punch Man, as Murata on his stream said that anything that isn't from One himself is just his opinion and thus shouldn't be taken into consideration. So what does this mean in terms of scaling? Well, taking this statement into consideration, it would likely mean that any notable feat that Tatsumaki has would scale to 100% and question mark percent Mob. However, the issue is that this interview is pretty old, seeing as it took place in 2015, and Tatsumaki is much stronger than when One made the statement, being around chapter 106 to 127, which was released on February 19, 2019, and a second version being released on May 8th, 2020, whereas Mob has shown all that he can do, seeing as One Punch Man is still ongoing and Mob Psycho 100 has finished, which will mean Tatsumaki in the span of 4 to 5 years got much stronger, and thus will make this statement pretty much irrelevant, right? I'm not going to answer that, so for the sake of this video, when going over the scaling for each character, I'll be going over their stats with and without taking one statement into consideration, mostly for Mob, as you'll see soon enough. For attack potency, I'll start off with Tatsumaki, in which she can be scaled anywhere from multi-continental to small planetary. This stems from her fight with Psychos, fused with Orochi, dubbed Psycho Orochi, with Orochi the Monster King being able to extract large amounts of energy from the planet's core to create his Gaia Cannon attack, which is calced anywhere from 5.68 exatons to 4.76 zetatons of TNT, which would be around multi-continental to small planetary in terms of AP. This would scale to Tatsumaki and Psycho, seeing as Psychos should be superior to him, as she was confident that she herself can take out Saitama, who previously one-shot Orochi after deflecting his Gaia Cannon attack. However, take this with a grain of salt, seeing as Psychos was taken down by Tatsumaki. Saitama should scale above her pretty easily, seeing as at full power she couldn't really make a dent on him, so this really wouldn't be viable. However, we do see Psychos fuse with Orochi and create this feat where she cuts the Earth's oceanic crust, which is calced at 18.283 exatons of TNT, getting into the multi-continental plus ranges of power. Tatsumaki would scale to this, seeing as she was able to take down Psycho Orochi while injured, thus solidifying her scaling around multi-continental to small planetary. Now moving on to Mob's attack potency. If you remember a while back, I did previously scale Mob and got him to around island level and was pretty adamant at the fact that he only got there, but I've come around lately to his higher metas, in which this would be around country to multi-continental, in which we have his feat against Toichiro, in which Mob creates thunderstorm clouds that stretch out to the horizons, which is calced at 8 gigatons of TNT or country level, and his feat in Mogami's world where he destroys it, which is calced at 8.35 exatons of TNT or multi-continental. Now I want to go into this feat in particular, as a lot of people use this to get Mob to universal, which I have issues with. As for One, at least to my knowledge, it was never stated to be an infinite space for it to be considered a universe, as we're only shown the city when this feat was done, and it was stated to be an exact replica of Spice City, not the entirety of Mob's world, and thus wouldn't scale Mob to universal. However, if you still want to use this feat to scale Mob to universal, you can. I'm just simply stating my case for why it's not universal in size, and thus Mob wouldn't be universal, thus solidifying Mob scaling around country to multi-continental in terms of power. However, this isn't taken into consideration one statement, like I said at the beginning of the video, in which if we do use it, we can bump up Mob to small planetary the same as Tatsumaki. However, I feel like Mob's current scaling would be more consistent for his series, aka his country to multi-continental ranges of power, and thus would give Tatsumaki the slight edge in attack potency, so she'll get the point. When it comes to speed, Tatsumaki can scale anywhere from relativistic to FTL+. This stems from her upscaling from the likes of Flashy Flash due to her being a higher rank than he is, in which Flashy Flash in the manga and the data books was stated to move at the speed of light, with him getting blitzed by Psychos, who Tatsumaki was able to react, dodge, and ultimately defeat in the end, thus putting her at these speeds. Keep in mind, Flashy Flash is the same character who is comparable to a casual Platinum Sperm, who was able to do this feat of creating an entire constellation alongside Garo in a matter of 1.3 milliseconds, which is calculated at 1,300,863,692.6 meters per second, getting them into the faster than light tier of speed. We also have the statement from Murata that states that Tatsumaki is able to throw things at the same speed as Guryangunshu, who is stated to move near the speed of light by Murata himself. Like I said at the beginning of the video, take these statements with a grain of salt, as Murata did say that these are his opinions. As for mob speed, he should be around massively hypersonic plus, as he's shown capable of reacting to lightning, which moves at 270 miles per hour, at least for the actual strike, seeing as the light produced by the lightning does travel at the speed of light, but this isn't what mob is reacting to, so this wouldn't put mob at light speed. We also see that mob can cross a distance of 20 kilometers in an instant while searching the city for answers as to where his brother is gone, which is calculated at Mach 6.06 or hypersonic, in which his 100% state and question mark state would be much faster, however unquantifiably so, seeing as we don't have an exact multiplier for it. While power is one thing, speed is another, and I don't think that speed would be consistent for mob if we bump him up to Tatsumaki's scaling. So with that, I will give Tatsumaki the speed point as well. When it comes to stamina, both of these characters should have superhuman stamina, with Tatsumaki being able to endure internal damage after being crushed by Sakurachi's barrier, being impaled through the hands, and electrocuted, all while protecting other heroes. Whereas Mob was able to take down multiple high tiers of Claw, then going on to fight Suzuki for a long period of time. Then when in Mogami's world and in his Astral form, he was able to come back from being ripped to shreds. So when it comes to stamina and endurance, I'd say they're around the same if we use Mob's Astral form, so both characters will get the point. Real quick, before I get into the rest of this video, I do want to say thank you for getting this far, and if you are enjoying this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on, like I said in the beginning of the video. That way you never miss an upload from me, as it really does help out the channel. As for question of the day in the comments, be sure to comment, who do you prefer, Fubuki, Tatsumaki, or Dose from One Punch Man? For me, I'm gonna go with Tatsumaki, but like last time, I'm not gonna go into detail why, aside from the fact that I like my women strong as fuck. Anyways, back to the video. When it comes to Hax and Abilities, Tatsumaki has access to Psychokinesis, Enhanced Senses, Extrasensory Perception, Limited Power Mimicry, Telepathy, Healing, Flight, Force Field Creation, Air Manipulation, Weapon Creation, and Limited Durability Negation. Whereas Mob has access to Stats Amplification, Telekinesis, Flight, Non-Physical Interaction, Regeneration Negation, Power Mimicry, Astral Projection, Power Absorption, Healing, Air, Gravity, Electric, and Vibration Manipulation. While a good amount of their hacks overlap, seeing as they're both Psychics or Espers, in my opinion, Mob has the better hacks kit, seeing as he has access to passive power absorption, which would make him stronger the longer the fight goes on, so I'll give the point to Mob in this case. Finally, we have the IQ and Battle IQ for these characters, in which neither of them have shown very high academic skills, except for the fact that Mob is not all that smart when it comes to academics, being outclassed by his little brother in that aspect. But he has shown the ability to change people's outlooks on life and their perspectives, with Tatsumaki being much older at 28 years old, so she'd be as smart as your average 28-year-old. There could be an argument that in terms of Battle IQ, Mob makes up for this, seeing as he's able to contend and eventually beat Espers that are much older than him and thus have more experience. However, I do feel as though that this is mainly due to Mob having higher stats than they do, rather than a sheer skill gap. Also factoring the fact that in his question percent mode, he's basically a bloodthirsty monster with no real strategy when it comes to combat. Tatsumaki, on the other hand, has shown to be proficient in manipulating energy signals. With this ability to manipulate energy signals, she's shown to dismantle barriers from people like Psychos, creating decoys to catch her opponents off guard, multitask, and make rapid decisions as seen when fighting Psycho Orochi, and protecting heroes while doing so, as well as being able to adapt on the fly. So when factoring all of that, it's easy to say that since she has more experience than Mob and is most likely overall smarter than he is, it's safe to give both points to Tatsumaki. So when it comes down to it, who would win in a 1v1? When taking the one statement into consideration, Mob would have the advantage in terms of hacks, while Tatsumaki would have better battle IQ and experience. So in this instance where their stats are pretty much equalized, Mob would eventually win, with Tatsumaki needing to finish the fight quickly before Mob drains regains her power and gains the stat advantage. But seeing as this isn't the case, as I've already stated my issues with using the one statement, let's go over what would actually happen if we don't factor this into the fight. As I've shown throughout this video, the fight with Sakura Orochi really gave Tatsumaki a huge boost in power, and due to her scaling above Flashy Flash, also gave her a boost in speed, thus making her stronger and faster than Mob. However, this doesn't take away Mob's advantage in terms of hacks against Tatsumaki, but in this case, if Tatsumaki were to be serious, she would easily blitz Mob with minor difficulty. So to answer the question at the beginning of this video, yes, I agree with Death Battle's assessment on this matchup, thus making the winner of this fight Tatsumaki.
That's the spirit.
So that was my take on Tatsumaki versus Mob. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Whether you disagree or agree, it's much appreciated. While you're down there, like I've said multiple times throughout this video, if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on. That way you never miss an upload from me, as I'm really trying to be more consistent. The next poll should be up by the time this video is out, so if you want to impact the next video, be sure to vote on that. But with that being said, I've been your host JoJo, and I'll catch y'all later.
Girl, you seem like you know me, but you could